The last 3 weeks we've been making a Totoro Family for my friends for their birthday. They both turned like 40 recently. Now, that camera doesn't have a camera on it yet. That camera! That camera! So we're making this little family of Totoros for them. And I've been focusing on the medium Totoro, so this guy, for the last 2 weeks, and today we're going to paint him. So that's what we're doing today. Very chill, very easy, very nice. Good favourites, Arteza paints are out in force. I've got a glass of water on my table as well as a pot of water, so this is bound to go wrong. But let's switch over to mainstream view so we can... so yeah, he's been sanded, he's been sprayed just with some... what's the word I want? Primer. Oh, I really am tired today. So he's just been sanded and sprayed with some primer. The trick with getting paper clay really smooth is to alternate between sanding it and then brushing it over with water, so that all the fine sanded clay particles get kind of stuck back to the clay sculpt and kind of fill in any gaps or any imperfections. So you can get really lovely effects. If you want to, you can go back in with extra clay as well and make things really perfect, but I'm not that person. So mine has a few divots, but that's part of the handmade charm. I'm going with that. Okay, we're going to get some blues out. This is a metallic blue sapphire that I really love. It's really exciting, and I like using it. But what I'm probably going to do is I might have a bit of fun finishing them off with coat from Culture Hustle, which is a mattifying coat that makes everything not shiny. So I might finish him off with that just to make him a non-shiny, fluffy creature. At the end, even though I'm putting some quite shiny colours in at the start, we're going to go for quite a rich light blue here, bit green, bit turquoisey maybe, and see what we can create, and then just start with making Totoro blue. They're quite block colours, Totoros. We might do some effects, we might not, we'll see how we go. Bit green, oh that's a fun green. I need a paintbrush. Well, that's a bit more of a turquoisey colour. I don't know why I wanted this to be a bit turquoise. A bit of a light turquoise is what I had in my mind. And I know I kind of painted him properly light blue when I did the drawing, but that was just a start. Mangussi saying, hugs to everyone in chat. If you've had a hard day all week, it's okay because Becky's painting Totoro. Yeah, today is an easy day. We're just going to sit, listen to some chilled out music, and paint a nice, lovely, fluffy creature. Tim Plumstein saying that blue looks on point to me. It pops. Pops is definitely an art term. Also, because I'm making these Totoros for my friends, and they are very bright people. Like, if I did kind of muted colours, it actually wouldn't fit in with their house. Like, their house is mental. It's a bit like walking into an 80s theme park, but in an awesome way. I mean, some people would say that sounds awesome anyway, but yeah, it's things I think that if I had in my house would look tacky, they make work, and I don't really understand how they do it. The craft supplies are not consumables. Honestly. Every time, you guys, every time. I will get t-shirts made, I feel. Bit of merch. Don't lick the craft supplies. Don't eat the craft supplies. T-shirts. And yeah, got a nice snazzy new logo happening, so I'll see that soon. Really loving this colour. This is an epic colour. Eking out what I've mixed so I don't have to try and match the colour exactly again, because that's always annoying. Veranowine saying, my bad crafting habit is sticking pencils, pens or brushes in my mouth to free hands instead of just putting them down. Alright, yes. I do that a lot. I know that exact problem. I'm also trying to be really good today and have my drinking water there and my brush water there so that I don't, you know, mix them up, because we've all been there too much. And everyone's drank painty tea at some point. If you haven't, how can you even call yourself a crafter? Not being too precious about the claws, because I'm going to go over those with a different colour so I can be a bit rough around the edges. I'm actually using quite a big brush for this, and I don't really know why, except it seems to sometimes move a bit smoother across the clay than a really small brush. Don't know, this might be a complete like fallacy in my head that a larger brush feels like I've got a bit more control. Like, you know how if you're drawing a line and you've got a big felt tip, it's kind of easier to get a straight, smooth line than if you've got a scratchy, thin pen? It's kind of like that. And I don't know why that is. Probably some physics. Ugh. But yeah, because this is acrylic paint, the ears are ending up very shiny. So I think it might be really fun to try the mattifying paint on this. The mattifying coat from Culture Hustle, because I bought it before I moved. To ultimately cover the bone hop, seal the bone hop. Yeah, it's fine. I've got white paint. I can cover mistakes. It's all good. I remember when Kim and I were doing streams together, and I would do detail work, and she would stop talking to me because she didn't want to distract me. But actually, if you get too locked into detail, you almost make more mistakes. If you're too heavily focused on it. Some distraction works really well. You know, I'm aware that I am, as a creator, a bit impatient, and so I'm always trying to sort of combat my impatience. And I know that I've spoilt paint jobs before by rushing it, turning things over too fast, and then ruining the paint. So I'm just trying to be very good about things like that at the moment. There's a few bits I need to re-go over on the bottom, and I need to do the hands have completely been left off for some reason, so let's just get those up and running. Isn't there's a Pokemon, I feel, that is this exact shade of blue. This kind of blue blobby creature is definitely ringing some bells in my head. Oh, right, what do we need? We need some white and some black. Yeah, we're going for black claws, I reckon. Black claws and toes. Okay. Really need to buy some more black. Running out of black like anything. Let's get big pouches of all their individual colours. No. On Arteza, and I need to get a black and a white. And there's like one blue that I've used loads of and one red. So I need to get those. Right, I might switch to a smaller brush for this. I think for claws, a smaller brush might be beneficial. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of water in my central reservoir here, because for the black it's fine to use that water, but if I want to put white on the eyes, I cannot use water with a blue tint to it with white paint, because it will make the paint blue. So I just want to have that for my white black paint, but we'll do our grey claws. I think we're going to go a sort of grey, or full black, or grey, or full black with a little bit of white along the top to make them look like they're shiny. But we will also, I'm also going to coat them with gloss Mod Podge. So we're going to go matte coat on the body and then gloss Mod Podge on the eyes and claws to really make them shine and stick out. So I think that'll look really lovely. Let's go. Cool. They're quite brutally clawed creatures. I think what I might do is put like almost a white cuticle around them, just to separate them from the blue, but it's kind of blending in a little bit too much. Did get the shape of these claws by sanding. The sculpt on these was so rough, so really getting them into that little point was about sand sculpting rather than clay sculpting. It's an interesting way of looking at sculpting and clay sculpting. Is that this method that I use is creating the base shape and then putting the clay over it and kind of building up the shape. But for those that are more comfortable with a kind of a carving mechanism, you could, paper clay is very carvable and very sandable, so you could just create a big block of paper clay, let it dry, and then work into it like it was a sculpture. It'd be a bit wasteful, but it'd be cheaper than working in stone. And easier too. So if you're kind of sculptor that works that way, it's interesting because I sort of feel like that's the way. So Michelangelo said, "I saw an angel in the stone, like in the marble, and I carved until I set him free." And that kind of seeing something within the shape is almost a very different way of the mind interpreting a three-dimensional sculpture. So if you think more that way, you can still play with stuff like paper clay, you just have to kind of treat it a little differently. Toes, little toes. I'm not worrying too much about the bottom. If you weren't here on earlier streams, what I've talked about putting on these is I'm going to put a felt base on the bottom of him. So I'm just going to kind of come in the edge a bit. But I'm not going to worry too much because I'm going to base this with felt in order that he doesn't scratch and he can sit comfortably on things. So I'm not worrying too much about the bottom. There we go, it's looking okay. Really nice round eyes with Totoro's, they've got lovely big bulbous eyes. You can still ask me questions, people. I know I'm looking very focused, but I'm still alive. I'm still here. Gone ever so slightly not round, and yes, it's not going to bug anyone else, but it's going to bug me. Yes, I'm a perfectionist. Yes, it is crippling sometimes. That is pretty damn good. That was stressful. Right, let's have a look at this mat. Oh, it's quite runny. Excited by this. It's kind of hard to tell what this is doing yet because as it's wet, it of course looks shiny. But I am excited to see this finish. I've just realised I've got to paint his nose as well. It was really nice stuff. We've got half an hour. We've got time to do some nose and some eyes and some shiny bits. Just get them all non-shiny first, and then we'll go back in after and do the really shiny bits. He's got a lump on his ear, and I think it's a paint lump. It's really bugging me. We never decided what these are, did we? Are they ears? Are they antenna? Are they horns? Someone do some Totoro research and find a definitive answer. There we go. Got all my claws nicely glossed. They just need to dry for a bit. He's drying off really lovely and matte. I'm really pleased with that. And so I think we'll go in with the black on the eyes now. Get those. And the nose. The nose. People keep telling me about the nose. I've forgotten to give him a tail. I can't forget to give him a nose, especially since it's just paint. When you're doing something really detailed, just check your brush before you apply it, because sometimes you pick up lumps and things, and you might want to just brush it off so that what you've got on your brush is a very fine point. But having said that, you don't want to take too much paint off, because in order to do a really nice smooth circle, you need it loaded with paint. It's a really hard thing to juggle. You could, of course, make your life easier and do black eye dots with pen. But that would be no fun for you guys watching me trying to do this. Hey! Now I've just got to try and match it. Woo-hoo. Oh, doing the second eye is always the worst when you've done one eye. I always do eyes upside down, so I'm not trying to lean across a whole creation. So I always start them up here. Ooh, I've gone too big on that one. Oh, the second one is the worst, because if the second one doesn't go as well, it's really annoying. That, though, is pretty damn good. I'm going to leave those there. I'm not going to touch those. Because I am pretty happy with that. I'm going to make his nose a little bigger, just quickly. Because I think his nose is a bit small, so we'll go a little bigger on that. Oh, I've got way too much water on my brush. A bit more paint. So, things I want to do now, I want to put, because I'm that crazy kind of person that likes to really go obsessive about stuff, I do want to put a catch light in the eyes. This keeps happening to all my paintbrushes, so I'm going to have to do this with a tiny end of paintbrush. But I just want to put a tiny dot. Oh, this is stressful. Tiny dot in the eyes, and it just gives a little, maybe can't see that from there, but I think that paintbrush has to go. It's just a tiny dot, just acting like there's light reflecting in them, just makes them look a bit more, just make creatures look a bit more alive. And then my final thing that I want to do, I want to go back around here to my gloss And I want to gloss his eyes so that they're really shiny as well. So probably the nose too, so that the nose, claws and eyes are really shiny and everything else is really matte. And just brings them really to life. That massifying coat is really, really incredible. I'm really pleased with that. That's going to be one I'll rave about. That can go in the cult with Warbler. There's a couple of bits that aren't quite dry there yet, so kind of still looking a little shiny on him. His eyes are going to get all covered up, and then they're going to dry and they're going to look so beautiful. Yeah, just make those eyes really, really wet. But they'll really shine, and then when light hits them, when they're sitting on the side, they'll look so alive. And I think that's part of the trick for me, making that belief that the Totoros might be about to walk off your shelf is part of what I like creating and making, is that little bit of magic. So having eyes that really glisten and really look like real eyes. It's a big deal for me. He's got all cloudy eyes and like he's gone blind now. I'm not laughing at him being blind, that would be cruel. Just, kind of find it funny when you go in with paint that sort of changes the entire look of something, and actually, yeah. Right, so that's today's Totoro paint.